Hi everyone, this is another episode of Discover Your Second Act Podcast. As you know that this podcast is only intentional to bring in an inspiration. It brings in higher meaning, something that you've never discovered before. And at the same time, there are so many people who come here and share their stories because they could take their first step to discover something that they had never done before. I have a very interesting guest today. His name is Rishabh Grover. Rishabh, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you. And just to tell a little bit about Rishabh, Rishabh loves numbers. Do you love numbers? At least I never loved numbers, but with Rishabh, I just love numbers now. Rishabh loves numbers because he is a numerologist. He, of course, had some stint in the corporate world. He was also an asset management person.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, he said, okay, this is getting a little bit drag and boring. Let me try something interesting with numbers. And
absolutely.
So here it is. So welcome, Rishab. It's so interesting to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
Very nice. So tell us, why this journey with numbers?
So I was always very fascinated by numbers since, I would say in school, commerce, accounts, maths were my favorite subjects, and I used to prefer them any which ways over theory. Slowly, gradually, it came into existence. I joined a company that was an asset management company, and before that, because of my inclination towards numbers, I had started learning numerology.
Oh, already?
Already.
And how old were you that time?
I was 17 when I started learning.
Interesting.
Yes.
From where?
And this was from Pandit Vidyanathan ji.
Achha.
He hails from Hyderabad. And the basic reason to learn numerology was my dad inspired me to do that.
Oh.
Yeah. So again, it is an interesting story that he consulted an astrologer when I was 4.
Okay.
This is Sri P.K. Churamani.
Okay.
Yeah, and he said that this young kid is going to be a great counselor. He is going to be good at counseling. So this kind of stuck with my dad, and he used to mention it every now and then whenever we used to have certain discussions about what my career aspirations were, what I'm going to do. So I started learning numerology just because he had enrolled me into a certain kind of classes. So I decided going there and started enjoying it. Till that time, it was only fun learning.
Nice.
And it is only when I joined an asset management company, I started my corporate career. People asked me about my hobby. I used to mention numerology, and it's a very curious subject.
Course,
People
yes.
get intrigued by it. They want to know about themselves, and it so happens if you're good at it, the word spreads like fire. And I was having a session one day with my trainer, and he said that, man, you're really good. You should talk to some more people that he knew at the office space. So one thing led to the another, and slowly and gradually I found myself taking more of sessions rather than doing the regular work. So I said that maybe I should take it officially and do more of numerology, do more of what I do good rather than be stuck in the corporate job.
Nice.
Yeah.
So ये numbers का जो खेल है, of course, आपको लगता है कि like आपके पढ़ने की वजह से, आपके experience की वजह से, I think 7-8 years now that you are doing it?
I have been doing this for 14 years.
Oh, you're doing it for 14 years?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're very young. Okay, so 14 years that you've been doing it. So really क्या ये change कर सकती है किसी की life, या जिस number से हम पैदा होते हैं हम कुछ कर नहीं सकते, just that you can tell कि इस number की वजह से ये होगा. क्या मतलब what is the science behind it? Number से क्या पता चलता है?
So I always believe कि information is power. Most times आज की date में होता क्या है, we are so influenced by everything which is going on, and we have a competitive analysis in our mind कि उसके साथ ये हो रहा है तो हमारे साथ भी ये होना चाहिए. In this process we forget what our strength is. तो जब हम किसी न्यूमरोलॉजिस्ट के साथ बैठते हैं, या न्यूमरोलॉजी का एक बेसिक फंक्शन है टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट योर स्ट्रेंथ एरियाज आर, आपके नेचुरल डेट ऑफ बर्थ के क्या पावर्स हैं, किस डायरेक्शन में इफ़ यू फोकस इट विल बी ईजियर फॉर यू टू फील फुलफिल्ड.
ओके.
एट द एंड ऑफ द डे हम देखते हैं कि हम बहुत सारी चीज़ें कर रहे हैं, कॉम्पिटिटिव एनालिसिस करके कि अगर वो कर रहे हैं तो हमें भी करनी है. आफ्टर डूइंग दैट फुल्ली एंड थॉरली, आफ्टर इन्वेस्टिंग द टाइम, मनी, एफर्ट, वो चीज़ हो भी जाती है. उसके बाद हम फिर कहते हैं कि वी आर नॉट फुलफिल्ड. तो ऐसा क्या है कि दैट विल लीड अस टू फुलफिलमेंट, या ऐसा क्या है दैट विल हेल्प अस मेक बेटर रिलेशनशिप्स इन लाइफ? इट्स अंडरस्टैंडिंग आवर ओन सेल्फ.
Right.
So numerology is a process around that.
But does it always work? I mean, or there are things that don't work because of certain, maybe some magnetic forces around us change, or planets change, or some things change, and does that impact also numbers? Is astrology and numerology connected in some way?
See, every occult science, whether astrology, numerology, palmistry, any other tarot, has to come to a similar conclusion. अगर एक कुछ और कह रहा है, दूसरा कुछ और कह रहा है, तो दोनों में से कुछ गलत है.
हाँ, correct.
ठीक है. तो for me to describe its accuracy, I would want to describe it into 3 parts.
Okay.
सबसे पहले बात करते हैं कि एक पर्सन को डिस्क्राइब करने में न्यूमरोलॉजी कितनी एक्यूरेट है. बहुत ज़्यादा एक्यूरेट है, बिकॉज ये आज की बात नहीं है, ये मेरी ऑब्जर्वेशन नहीं है. कई हज़ार सालों से पीपल हैव ऑब्जर्व्ड पीपल कि इस नंबर के लोग ऐसे होते हैं, इसके ऐसे होते हैं, एंड दे हैव मेड रिसर्च अराउंड इट. सो व्हेन आई see people with their date of birth, I can instantly tell them, or if you are a good reader of numerology and if you happen to learn about it, or you know about it, you can easily tell how a person's nature is going to be, characteristics is going to be. So that front is very accurate. Now comes how accurate is it in predictions. Right? Numerology at the end of the day is a predictive science. You use time and date of birth to come to a conclusion कि आज क्या हो रहा है, कल क्या होने वाला है. Right? तो जब हम प्रिडिक्शन की बात करते हैं तो इट डज गिव अस अ ब्लूप्रिंट विच नीड्स टू बी अचीव्ड थ्रू आवर एक्शंस. बहुत सारे लोग क्या करते हैं कि हमें बता दीजिए कि आगे क्या होने वाला है, उसके ऊपर काम नहीं करेंगे. राइट. सो इट्स अ मिक्स एंड मैच ऑफ व्हाट यू डू, व्हाट यू इंटेंड टू डू, एंड व्हाट इज द अपॉर्चुनिटी अहेड ऑफ यू. सो यू कैन गेट टू नो अबाउट इट, प्रिपेयर योरसेल्फ एंड प्लान योर एक्शंस अकॉर्डिंगली टू रीच द डिजायर्ड डेस्टिनेशन. तो it will be fair to say it's a very accurate science, and I have made some recent accurate predictions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what are those?
So these are basically, I predicted about Virat Kohli's comeback when he was going through a very lean phase back in July 2022. I had mentioned that from October onwards he's going to do good, and the World Cup match between India and Pakistan, where Kohli played
Yes,
a big
definitely. Yes.
contribution was there from him, and then afterwards he has been scoring centuries like bread and butter. Second was Alia Bhatt's baby gender.
ओहो, ये तो पूरी दुनिया उस पे वो कर रही थी.
So this was posted again on my Instagram, and it was also covered by a few newspapers as well.
Oh, really? Oh, that's commendable. Did it reach Alia Bhatt?
I am not sure. Maybe through this podcast, if she
maybe,
listens to it. Yeah.
Alia Bhatt, we are rooting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a fairly accurate science. I would like to believe that.
And what about your own predictions in your own life?
In my own life,
is everything going as per what you can see ahead?
See, एक कहावत कहते हैं ना कि दिए के नीचे अंधेरा होता है. So I don't like to be calculative in life, because then the entire taste of taking things as it goes, it kind of goes away. But I cannot help it. There are intuitions, there are calculations that come in front of me. To be fair, I married my girlfriend based on a number system. I asked her for a date of birth.
ये तो गलत है,
I asked her for a date of birth, and she said that I am so and so date of birth, and I said that okay.
अच्छा.
Yeah. So I do take decisions based on numerology in my personal life as well, but I try not to be very calculative, and I also tell my clients that do not be too much dependent on me. You need to take it, as life comes, and it's only when you hit a roadblock, you should seek help of a numerologist or numerology or any other medium that can give you some sense of inspiration, motivation, and guidance to move ahead. But everything does not need to be calculated.
But ऐसे नहीं लगता कि लाइफ में हमेशा कोई रोड ब्लॉक है? I'm just saying, because अगर हम 100% satisfied हों लाइफ में तो बात ही अलग है ना. That's why second act की ज़रूरत आती है कि you need to keep rediscovering, keep yourself motivated, keep that along कि कहीं कुछ और नया मिलेगा, right? तो उस होप पे ही तो आगे जाते हैं.
बिल्कुल.
इसीलिए लगता है कि शायद इससे बेटर कुछ और है आगे, you know, and I'm feeling a bit stuck at this point.
Absolutely.
So and everybody is very always intrigued to know कि आगे क्या होने वाला है, correct? So, but what you are saying is that this is not something that one should do just as like, you know, a pastime. You should do when you really need it.
Absolutely. I would like to say that कि अगर हम डॉक्टर के पास कब जाते हैं, एक तो यूजुअली ठीक है कि अभी नॉर्मल चेकअप करा लिया तो करा लिया, बट ओनली व्हेन यू स्टार्ट फीलिंग यू नो हैवी. इसके बाद एक और पर्सपेक्टिव है दैट आई वुड वांट टू शेयर, एंड दिस इज यू नो इट्स वेरी मोटिवेटिंग दैट यू मेंशन्ड सेकंड एक्ट, क्योंकि सेकंड एक्ट का पूरा पर्पस ही ये है टू डू व्हाट यू लव, और राइट. सो एंड आई बिलीव दैट इफ़ यू आर डूइंग व्हाट यू लव इन योर डेली लाइफ, तो आपको किसी की भी ज़रूरत नहीं है. यू आर ऑलरेडी इन सिंक विद नेचर, यू आर डूइंग व्हाट मेक्स यू हैप्पी, एंड व्हेन यू आर हैप्पी थिंग्स फॉल इनटू प्लेस. So that's the number one perspective, that's the number one thing that anyone should aim for. Do what you love. जब आप खुश हो तो उसके बाद फिर सब जो ग्रह हैं ना वो खुश आदमी के चक्कर लगाते हैं. rather than you running after the planets start running after you कि ये इंसान खुश है, इसको जो चाहिए वो दो. So that's how manifestation also happens. So you know, second act that ways is a blessing.
Yes, I feel so too. And I think I just attended Sadhguru's session yesterday where he of course speaks only about how joy needs to be created internally, right? And
absolutely.
And I love when he says that the only way out is the way in. So it's basically the more that you know yourself and the more that you are doing everything to make that space happy, everything else will fall in place anyway.
Absolutely. And I love, you know, how Sadhguru explains everything, and just basis on those explanations I have come to a conclusion that we don't have to follow a particular you know timeline or a guideline or a religion or be very spiritual to be happy. अगर हम सिर्फ 5 elements भगवान भूमि गगन वायु अग्नि नीर, this is what constitutes भगवान, but what we try to find is, you know, we try to find everything outside, whilst we are made of those 5 elements, and if we try to dive within, we'll find those answers. And as a numerologist, that is my motive as well. I, you know, tell people about their strengths, their talents, what they can do and what they should aim to do, and once they know what to aim for and they are able to achieve that aim, it makes them happy. So that's what entirely this is about.
Very nice. So Rishabh, tell me, to make it more relatable for people who are hearing us, are there some numbers which are magical? Like you're really lucky if you're born in that number, and you know there are other ways to, like, you know, have combination of numbers. एक होता है birth, एक होता है destiny or name numbers. So are there some magical numbers?
See, every number is a magical number, and every name that is given to a baby is a magical name because that is given out of love. अब मॉम डैड ने नाम रखा है तो बहुत प्यार से रखा है, but it so happens that Chaldeans were able to decipher this and they were able to come to a conclusion कि अगर कुछ नेम फ्रीक्वेंसी अगर आपके डेट ऑफ बर्थ के साथ हार्मनी में होती है, सिंक में होती है, then you are able to think more clearly. Basically your body, mind and soul is in sync.
Okay.
तो जो हम अच्छा सोचेंगे, अच्छा करेंगे तो रिजल्ट भी अच्छा ही होगा. Most of the times people know, and you know this is a very common problem despite the awareness about procrastination and so many other things and self-help books, people are not able to break the cycle कि हमें पता है कि हमें करना क्या है but हम कर नहीं पा रहे.
Correct.
In that cases most of the times ये देखा जाता है कि आपका जो नेम नंबर है आपके बर्थ नंबर के साथ मैच नहीं कर रहा है. नेम नंबर की फ्रीक्वेंसी कुछ और है, बर्थ नंबर की कुछ और है. आपको पता है पोटेंशियल है कि करना क्या है बट आप कर नहीं पा रहे हैं. Right, you have taken so much help from everything available around, but वो फिर भी नहीं हो पा रहा है.
Okay.
So in that case, numerology really helps.
Oh really?
Yes. And जहाँ तक lucky numbers की बात है, I think every date of birth has its own potential. सब बहुत lucky होते हैं.
कुछ numbers के बारे में बताओगे? I mean, you know, because I don't want to say I was born on this number, so tell me. So I mean, because there's so many people who are hearing, right? So just tell us a little bit about maybe some of the numbers where, you know, we know okay, number 2 means this and number 4 means that.
Wonderful. For the audience sake, I would cover all the numbers.
हाँ,
है
तो
ना?
ताकि nobody
तो
feels
सबको
left
थोड़ा
out.
थोड़ा अपने बारे में पता चले, and I'll try to be very concise and quick about it. So, numerology and human life cycle is very similar. ठीक है, कैसे? अगर जिनका डेट ऑफ बर्थ है 1, 10, 19 और 28, ये सभी नंबर्स 1 को एड अप करते हैं, तो दीज पीपल आर लाइक इन्फेंट्स, दे आर लाइक बेबीज. इनको अटेंशन चाहिए, इनको सब कुछ अभी चाहिए, इमीडिएटली चाहिए. इफ दे डोंट गेट इट देन दे आर बैड एट एक्सप्रेसिंग देमसेल्व्स. दे आर गो गेटर्स. जैसे बच्चे को सब कुछ चाहिए होता है ना, वो हासिल कर लेता है, वो पा लेता है. सो दीज पीपल आर लाइक दैट,
Interesting. Number ones, are you hearing?
Number ones, you are go-getters, and we see a lot of business people who are number ones and they are successful because they have this attitude कि चाहिए तो चाहिए. They don't really think about anything else.
Wow.
So that's a special quality about number one. ऐसे ही अगर मैं number two की बात करता हूँ तो देखिए बच्चे से बड़े हो गए हैं, घर की बड़ी बहन, बड़ा भाई. What happens? जो number 2, 11, 20 और 29 है, they add up to number 2. अब ये घर की जिम्मेदारी उठाना शुरू कर देते हैं. तो दे बिकम सैक्रिफिशियल इन नेचर. तो हम देखते हैं कि जितने भी नंबर 2 बॉर्न है, दे आर वेरी मदरली, दे आर वेरी केयरिंग, वेरी लविंग, एंड ये अपनी चीज़ें सैक्रिफाइस करने लग जाते हैं कि नहीं ये छोटे को दे दीजिए, या मम्मी पापा आप खा लीजिए, या अपने पार्टनर के बारे में सोचने लग जाएंगे. तो दैट मीन्स दे आर वेरी केयरिंग, वेरी लविंग. एंड ऑल्सो आई वुड से कि नंबर 2 बहुत ज़्यादा इमोशनल भी होते हैं, बहुत इमोशनल होते हैं. दिखाते नहीं है ज़्यादा, बट दे ऑलवेज फील दैट वॉइड कि लोग शायद हमसे उतना प्यार नहीं करते जितना हम लोगों से करते हैं.
Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
So,
I have a number 2 in my house, so it is, yes, I can totally relate to it.
Yeah, so anyone who is hearing this and who has their partner as number 2, you need to make them more comfortable and express your love towards them.
Yeah.
थोड़ा सा और आगे बढ़ते हैं तो अब बच्चा बड़ा हो गया, घर के बाद अब वो प्ले स्कूल में चला गया है.
Okay.
So 3, 12, 21 and 30. Now the kid is in play school. What he'll do? He'll love to create art, dance, music. तो 3, 12, 21, 30 के जितने भी डेट ऑफ बर्थ हैं, they are very creative. We see them, doing a lot of things that their heart wants. कुछ भी बात करने का शौक होता है क्योंकि बच्चे इस टाइम पे बोलना शुरू कर देते हैं, राइट? एंड दे गॉसिप अ लॉट, दे मेक अप स्टोरीज. सो ऐसे ही 3, 12, 21, 30 दे आर क्रिएटिव एंड टॉकेटिव पीपल.
अच्छा.
अब थोड़ा सा और बच्चा बड़ा हो जाता है.
Do they overthink? Do you think? Do they really have a lot of thoughts in their mind?
Absolutely.
Are they restless?
Yeah, I think they are restless. They think a lot and they cook up stories a lot.
Oh, really?
And they are very curious कि सब कुछ क्या हो रहा है, हमें जानना है. So that's again, a quality about number 3 as well. थोड़ा सा और आगे बढ़ते हैं तो अब बच्चा जो है स्कूल में चला गया है, राइट? अब बैग का साइज़ बड़ा हो गया, बुक्स हैवी हो गई हैं. सो एंड ही इज़ एक्सपेक्टेड टू फॉलो अ सर्टन टाइमलाइन, रूटीन फॉलो करना है, इतने बजे स्कूल जाना है, इतने बजे क्लास होगी. सो वी सी 4, 13, 22 and 31 दे आर वेरी ऑर्गेनाइज्ड. दे ट्राई टू डू एवरीथिंग विद हार्ड वर्क. स्मार्ट वर्क नहीं करते हैं.
It's me.
सो हार्ड वर्क करते हैं, ऑन टाइम एवरीवेयर. दे हैव अ वेरी यूनिक अपीयरेंस. जैसे इसको मैं कहूँगा कि वेल ग्रूम्ड रहते हैं. उनको पसंद नहीं है अगर हम कुछ आउट ऑफ प्लेस है, या उनका रूम ऑर्गेनाइज नहीं है, या किसी ने उनका सामान उठा के कहीं पे रख दिया है. सो दैट वेज दे आर वेरी पर्टिकुलर अबाउट देयर बिलोंगिंग्स एंड हाउ दे आर ऑर्गेनाइज्ड. सो if you have a 4 in your life, then I could say that half your tensions of organizing your schedule is taken care of.
Okay, really?
तो आप देखोगे being a 4 yourself, that you will be making plans for your family, you will be organizing a lot of itineraries on trips.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Taking care of what to eat, what not to eat, groceries and everything. So 4, 13, 22 and 31 is all about organizing, and that's their USP as well. Then we see after the hard work, now it's time for the kid to go to the college. This is now the 5, 14 and 23.
Analogy, the way it's.
So I said, it's like a human cycle, how the life progresses. So 5, 14, 23, now they are all about fun loving. They want to network, they want to create a certain impression, they want to be looked at upon a certain way कि हम क्या हैं, हमें देखिए. और थोड़ा सा I would say बोस्ट भी कर देते हैं कभी कभी नेटवर्क करने के लिए. बट द गुड पार्ट इज दे आर नॉट शाई. सो 5, 14, 23 whatever they have to say, they are able to say, they are not shy, and they have this fearlessness about themselves. जैसे होता है ना कि कॉलेज ग्रेजुएट देखा जाएगा जो भी होता है कर लेंगे, एंड दे आर विजनरीज एज वेल, दे आर एबल टू थिंक बिग। जैसे हम कॉलेज में होते हैं, वी मेक $1 million स्टार्टअप आइडियाज, राइट, 100 करोड़ 200 करोड़ 500 करोड़, तो ये इतने बड़े बड़े नंबर्स के बारे में सोचते हैं। छोटी चीज़ें इनको ज़्यादा समझ नहीं आती हैं। नाउ आफ्टर कॉलेज द पर्सन इज नाउ एबल, ही इज़ ऑफ अ मैरिजेबल एज, तो 6 नंबर की शादी करा देते हैं।
अरे वाह।
तो 6, 15, 24 दे आर मोर होम ओरिएंटेड। इनको घर पे रहना पसंद होता है, फैमिली के साथ रहना पसंद होता है, घर एस्थेटिकली ब्यूटीफुल होना चाहिए। दे विल स्पेंड अ लॉट ऑन लग्जरी, दे विल स्पेंड अ लॉट ऑन लग्जरी ब्रांड्स, एंड इनका यही कहना होता है कि खाना हम कम खा लेंगे लेकिन विल लुक लाइक $1 million, राइट। सो यू विल find a lot of 6, 15, 24 spending on luxury brands, and these are people who are very emotional as well, right? They are always seeking love. Romance इनके एक quality होती है, they are always seeking love and they always want to form meaningful connections. तो ये खास बात होती है 6, 15 and 24 की। After that comes the phase of midlife crisis.
Poor thing.
अब शादी हो गई, बच्चे हो गए हैं, तो अब बात करते हैं नंबर 7 की। So 7, 16 and 25.
बच्चों के बाद एकदम से मिड लाइफ क्राइसिस आप ले आए हो, बट लाइक यूथ तो आया ही नहीं, मुझे प्राइम, यू नो,
Youth was between 5 and 6.
अच्छा,
So between your 20s and 40s you can say that you are between 5 and 6.
Okay.
Swinging between 5 and 6. But so to say, and आजकल मिड लाइफ क्राइसिस जल्दी आ जाता है। At the age of 35 we start thinking about retirement.
so true.
Right? And I have heard people who are 35 and they said that अब तो जिंदगी खत्म हो गई है, अब उम्र निकल गई है, अब आगे क्या करना है। And I agree, you know, the kind of corporate pressure that we have these days, and that is the need of second act as well. You know, time is running out, do what you love.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't need to, as you said rightly, you don't need to, you know, leave your corporate job and
exactly.
think about something else. But if you have your chance, if you really know what to do and you love what you do, you just start with it. Coming back to 7, 16, 25, now these people are over materialism. उन्होंने लग्जरी देख लिया पीछे 6 नंबर के फेज में, तो 7, 16, 25 आप कह सकते हैं एज ब्रैकेट हो गया 40 to 50 का। अब ये कैसे रिएक्ट करते हैं? अब इनको थोड़ा सी गट इशूज़ हो सकते हैं, स्टमक इशूज़ हो सकते हैं, राइट। इसके बाद थोड़ा सा ये फाइनेंशियल सिक्योरिटी के बारे में सोचना शुरू कर देते हैं कि पैसा कैसे जोड़ना है, पैसा कैसे सेव करना है, ज़्यादा खर्च नहीं करना है। दे लाइक टू बी सिक्योर। तो 7, 16, 25 विल ऑलवेज सी दे वॉन्ट अ सर्टन लेवल ऑफ बैंक बैलेंस टू बी श्योर इन लाइफ। अगर वो नहीं होता है तो ये थोड़ा सा रेस्टलेस फील करते हैं। So they want a level of safety and security in their lives. Also 7, 16, 25, they are a little bit, I would say, wise people. It is fair to take advice from them. हमेशा हम देखेंगे कि 7, 16, 25 जो डेट ऑफ बर्थ होता है अपनी उम्र से बड़े लोगों के साथ फ्रेंडशिप करते हैं या दोस्ती करते हैं या रिलेशनशिप बनाते हैं, बिकॉज दे हैव दैट माइंडसेट कि हमें छोटों के साथ ज़्यादा कनेक्ट नहीं कर पाते हैं, अपने से बड़ों के साथ ये ज़्यादा बेटर रिलेट कर पाते हैं।
Nice.
Right? And they are spiritual as well. Not that other numbers are not, but they are, you know, more of avid readers. They like to read about life. They like to go to spiritual programs. जैसे अभी आपने कहा कि you know you attended a workshop by Sadhguru yesterday. So 7, 16, 25 is about more awakening and you know a higher purpose. Then comes our sweet 8, 17 and 26. Now this is the person who has grown old, has a lot to share. So 8, 17, 26, 8, 17, 26 इनसे आप जब भी बात करेंगे they will always give you life advices. ज़िंदगी की एडवाइस आपको देंगे कि ज़िंदगी कैसे जीनी चाहिए, और हमें उस टाइम समझ नहीं आएगी, लेकिन बाद में जब हम उसको रिफ्लेक्ट अपॉन करेंगे या सोचेंगे कि हमें किसने एडवाइस दी थी, तो वो एडवाइस सही ज़रूर होगी। So if you have 8, 17, 26 in your house and if they say something, आपको उनकी बात सुननी चाहिए। वो थोड़ा सा उस टाइम पे you know like how elders are, they can be a little bit intimidating. तो वो उस टाइम पे when we are having conversations with 8, 17 and 26 वो थोड़ा सा dominating लग सकता है, and this is one of the main reasons जो 8, 17, 26 के लोग होते हैं और जो इस प्रोग्राम को सुन रहे हैं उनके relationships थोड़े से compromise होते हैं कि पार्टनर की हमेशा कंप्लेन रहती है कि बच्चों की रहती है कि you're too dominating, right? But the point is they only mean good for you, and अगर उनकी बात सुने तो definitely फ़ायदा
Super.
होता है. And that is age 17 26. अब क्योंकि इनको मैंने एज ब्रैकेट पर डाल दिया है ऑफ ओल्डर पीपल, देयर बॉडी ऑल्सो एजेस फास्टर. हम ये देखते हैं कि एज 17 26 में अर्थराइटिस, लोअर बैक पेन, बिलो द नी पेन्स, फ्रोजन शोल्डर, ये सब चीज़ें ज़्यादा देखी जाती है, सर्वाइकल पेन्स. सो एज 17 26 दे शुड बी मोबिल, they should move a lot, and they should do stretching exercises whenever possible. They should definitely do yoga, and it will be helpful for them. Now comes to the last number, 9, 18 and 27.
By the time he's in grave, these poor
by the
number
time
nines.
he has attained moksha. He has attained moksha. So 9, 18, 27 is the complex number of alls. अब इनके अंदर सबकी खासियत भी है और सबकी खामियां भी हैं. So 9, 18, 27 is the number that should be very careful of their karmas. क्योंकि जो ये करेंगे वही इनके साथ वापस होता है. तो अगर किसी के लिए नेगेटिव बोलेंगे तो नेगेटिव होगा, पॉजिटिव बोलेंगे तो पॉजिटिव होगा. नंबर नाइन्स. So number 9 should be very careful of their karmas. They are moody, I would say. अपनी मनमर्जी के साथ काम करते हैं. They know that they are good at a lot of things. They are jack of all trades, and that is probably their biggest talent, but their biggest roadblock as well. क्योंकि कई बारी 9, 18, 27 को ये समझने में कि ज़िंदगी में करना क्या है बहुत सारा समय निकल जाता है. अगर 9, 18, 27 सिर्फ एक चीज़ पे फोकस करें, यूनिडायमेंशनल हो जाएं rather than multitasking. In the world of multitasking, be orthodox, be unidimensional. एक ही चीज़ पे फोकस करेंगे तो उनको सक्सेस डेफिनेटली मिलेगी.
Wow, so did you hear everybody? 1 to 9, what's your number? What's your number, by the way?
My number is number 9. I am 27.
But in today's world, when we can actually decide when the child should be born, especially when it's a cesarean, on the date, you think one should be conscious about that and the numbers?
Absolutely.
Oh.
So when we have this option to choose, number one, we leave it to the nature, right? Whenever it's due to happen, it happens. In the case of a normal delivery, but if it's a C-section, we have the option to choose, and we must choose wisely, right? There are 27 nakshatras, there are 9 numbers, and there are 7 days.
Right.
Every day, every number, every nakshatra has a gravitational pull. It has a specific characteristic, and it shapes up your personality.
Wow.
So if you have the option of choosing a date and time, you must choose it. You must exercise this option of choosing it, and I do it for people all across the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am 24/7 available, and I have people from US, because at that point of time in India we still have this liberty of giving the name after 2 to 3 days, but in US you have to register it in the next 5 minutes. You need to tell them. So you must definitely exercise this right to choose.
So how do you calculate numbers through name? So supposing Rishab.
Correct.
Right. So
we use a calculation given by Chaldean tribe. So what they have done is, English has got 26 alphabets. Every alphabet has been given a numeric value as per the Chaldean chart.
Okay.
Right. If you Google it, you will find enough information about that. So every alphabet has a number between 1 to 8 associated to them. We add up all the digits, and then we come to a name number, and that name number has to be in harmony with your date of birth for the body, mind and soul coordination.
Wow, very interesting. I mean, I never thought of it, to be honest, but people who are hearing, and if you believe in the science, then I think be intelligent about it, because here you can actually change lives.
So people might think that whether this works or not, but I'll tell you what, a city in India is based on, the name has been kept based on numerology. So Bangalore has been named Bengaluru based on numerology.
Oh.
Right, and we see so many film stars, Ajay Devgan has removed an A from his name at the end, and we see many film stars, and I have done it personally for a lot of them, and it has worked. It has worked for people, and that is the reason I'm sitting here today.
Yeah. Of course, I'm sure that it works, but because you've also studied, formally about it, but I also know that between our discussions that you say that anybody who has the passion to know can actually understand this science very easily. Is
Absolutely,
that
it's very easy to understand. It's just that you have to apply logic. The calculation is given by charlatans, right? You just have to understand which number means what and what is the symphony between numbers. If you are able to understand it, you can, by yourself, you don't even need a numerologist to tell you what your name number is, but if you spend some time learning about it, actually, you could do it yourself. I'm not saying that you will be able to master it in a day or two, but yes, if you spend some time, put in some effort, actually get to know about the logic, the basics and the elements, you can learn it yourself as well.
Very interesting. So when pandemic came, okay, of course there were predictions all over, but
Right.
nobody saw the kind of impact that it would get.
Absolutely.
There were so many astrologers, of course, you know, and so many people who are studying different kinds of sciences. Where did that get lost, or did people know and it didn't surface, or at least I didn't read much about it, what the planets and the other situations said?
So what happens is, if I talk about numerology, astrology, where the accuracy comes from, as I mentioned earlier in this conversation, is that it comes from the research which has been done over the years. Right. When the pandemic hit, it was more of a cause that, you know, humans created for themselves. It was like, you know, more man-made kind of virus. While there were a lot of people who were trying to make predictions about it, it was only a try, I would like to say, because nothing of that sort was seen in the past.
Correct.
So for you to accurately mention about something, you need to have data of what has happened in the past, need to analyze it, and then come up with the conclusion कि ये ऐसा हो सकता है. But अब होता क्या है आजकल की डेट में, you know, superficial knowledge, and I would say, if you know I'm allowed to say this, कि हम देखते हैं कि 2-4-5 दिन में लोग कोर्स करके न्यूमरोलॉजी फॉलो कर रहे हैं या टैरो फॉलो कर रहे हैं या Instagram is full of these things and I'm sure people are aware of it. I don't know how much are you ready to make predictions when you have this shallow knowledge. And I have been doing this for 14 years. I still feel that I'm an amateur. There's so much to learn. The world is so diverse and you can never get to the bottom of it.
Oh, that goes for everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Science is constantly, you know, evolving. So जब भी pandemic की predictions की मैं बात करता हूँ, I refrained from it because this was something which was never spoken about. This was never mentioned. There was no research about it, and it was unfortunate that this happened. But just to put it on planetary positions, I would say was not fair. It was more of, you know, what we created for ourselves. Karma has a big role to play in how fastly we want to evolve and what is the cost we are ready to pay. So I think it was more of a human catastrophe rather than planets playing a role. Of course, planets do have impact on human lives, you know, that is the entire perspective of this conversation. But अगर कुछ ऐसा होता है तो it can not only be blamed on planets.
Great. So Rishabh, like you've mentioned a few times, this podcast is about second act.
Yeah.
And second act के बहुत सारे meanings हैं जो सबसे मुझे इंट्रीग करता है या पुल करता है या जगाता है रोज़ सुबह, वो ये है कि कुछ नया खोजने की बस एक इच्छा होनी चाहिए और the life opens for you. All you need to do is the first step and there is an act waiting for you. हम मोस्टली नहीं लेते हैं वो स्टेप. आपने वो स्टेप लिया क्योंकि शायद इन योर वर्क यू गॉट दिस एक्सपोजर, जब आपने अपना कुछ साइड में आप पैशन कर रहे थे और किसी ने बोला यार यू वेरी गुड एट इट, चलो इस पे करो. सो शायद यू टुक दैट चांस एंड यू सेड अच्छा दिस इज इंटरेस्टिंग एंड आई एम गुड एट इट. बट मोस्टली पीपल डोंट डू इट. एंड व्हाई डू यू थिंक पीपल डोंट see that or don't come out of the comfort zone? ऐसा क्यों होता है कि हम चांस ही नहीं लेते हैं?
देखो मुझे चांस इसलिए मिला क्योंकि पहले मैंने सीखा और जब अपॉर्चुनिटी आई तो आई वाज रेडी.
Oh yes, that's true.
Most of the time what happens is people are only thinking about कि मुझे करना है but they are not ready when the opportunity comes. क्योंकि उन्होंने वो फर्स्ट स्टेप ही नहीं लिया होता जो भी वो चाहते हैं करने के लिए, उसको सीखने का. Whether it is anything, whether it is about fashion, media, blogging, vlogging, anything that you would want to do, सब सोच रहे हैं. Instagram पे they are saving a lot of content, right? They are going through consuming a lot of content but not really acting on it.
Yeah.
तो अगर सिर्फ first step लें, no matter how bad it is, एक बार अगर आप सोचें कि मुझे करना है और मैं करके देखता हूँ कि मेरे लिए क्या रिजल्ट रहता है या देखती हूँ क्या रिजल्ट रहता है, आई एम श्योर वन थिंग विल लीड टू द अनदर एंड इट क्रिएट्स अ रिपल इफेक्ट. You start feeling more confident. And I think most of the times it's guilt that consumes people, and that is the reason they are not able to start with the second act.
And when you say guilt,
Guilt की देखो, we make a lot of promises to ourselves कि हम ये करेंगे, but when we fail on those promises daily कि कल से जिम जाएंगे, कल से अच्छा खाना खाएंगे,
से जिम तो कभी होता ही नहीं है किसी का.
but what happens is, you know, then we start running away from that. There's a guilt that consumes us कि यार ये तो हमने किया नहीं, अब यहाँ से मुंह छुपाते हैं, right? तो वो गिल्ट जो है वो हमें डेली कंज्यूम करता रहता है एंड इट टेक्स अस फर्दर अवे फ्रॉम इनिशिएटिंग. वी आर नॉट रियली एबल टू स्टार्ट एनीथिंग बिकॉज हम अपने माइंड में सोच चुके हैं कि ये होगा नहीं.
Maybe you're right, yes.
ये होगा नहीं क्योंकि हमने पहले प्रॉमिस किया, वो नहीं हुआ तो अब नहीं होगा. एंड दैट इज़ द रीज़न वी आर नॉट एबल टू स्टार्ट. सिर्फ अगर एक शुरुआत करनी है तो उसके लिए आपको कुछ करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, सिर्फ शुरुआत करनी है. मे बी एन कोर्स that you like, enroll yourself, don't think about it. Whatever the cost is, you just pay it and start doing it. या अगर आप कुछ करना चाहते हैं तो सिर्फ कीजिए, ये मत सोचिए कि मैं कितना अच्छा करूँगी.
True.
राइट इसके लिए एक बहुत अच्छी सेइंग है कि एक दिन में नहीं होगा लेकिन एक दिन ज़रूर होगा.
वाह.
तो अगर इस बात का ध्यान में रखें कि एक दिन ज़रूर होगा, that one day will come.
Very nice. So what's your second act?
So my second act, basically, you know, this happened early on in life, and I'm grateful to God for it. That I started, you know, in the corporate world, and I thought basically, पहले कि to be a good numerologist, I need to know what people think when they are working, when they're in a job, and they're in that ecosystem, or they're doing startups, or you know, they are in businesses, what their mindset is like. तो पहले 7 साल तो मैंने जीवन के उनके साथ उसी ecosystem में बिताए. द रीज़न फॉर दैट वॉज कि एक तो समझ आएगा कि लोग क्या सोचते हैं, और दूसरा आई डिड नॉट वांट टू बी डिपेंडेंट मॉनेटरली ऑन न्यूमरोलॉजी. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जहाँ पे पैसे की बात आ जाती है या इफ़ यू आर थिंकिंग अबाउट मनी मेकिंग टू मेक आवर डेली नीड्स मेट, वहाँ पे इंट्यूशन कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ हो जाती है, या वहाँ पे आपकी जो एक सेवा करने की भावना है वो ख़त्म हो जाती है. वी सी, यू नो, अ लॉट ऑफ मिलियनियर्स और बिलियनियर्स डूइंग फिलांथ्रोफी. व्हाई? बिकॉज दे डोंट रियली केयर अबाउट मनी. That becomes secondary. To make an impact is primary. So that was my intention. I'm not saying that I'm a philanthropist or I do social service, but I am not dependent for money on numerology. It happens, you know. And मेरे गुरुजी ने जिन्होंने मेरे को सिखाया था, उन्होंने यही बात कही थी that earn your people and your people will earn you your money. So my second act was when I decided after my marriage that I'm going to pursue it full time. Oh. Nobody really understood it, and I was quite young that time. I am, but you know, I backed myself that I could do it, and I started with it. I did not give it a second thought. I just started doing it, putting more man hours. When I had free time, I decided to learn more, and that's how it started for me.
Very nice, well done.
Thank you so much.
So thanks for sharing all that you've done. Thanks for sharing, doing something different than the ordinary. Thanks for also taking that step of saying that maybe I can do something which is of interest to me, which attracts me, and numbers did. So that's very, very, very nice. I think not many people do it. So through this podcast, I hope that this will create some hope for people who are still wanting to do something, but not taken that step.
Absolutely.
Thinking that maybe it doesn't get me anywhere. But maybe it does. So I think believe in the process, right? I mean,
believe in the process. Just start, and don't think about what the end is going to be. You know, just take it one day at a time, one step at a time. Keep on doing, and जैसे मैंने कहा, एक दिन ज़रूर होगा.
Very nice. So हम wrap up करते हैं with the rapid fire.
Okay.
Like quick questions to know you better. So what's that one favorite quotation of yours which you use when people consult you? What do you tell mostly, that one thing to create that positivity in them?
So I just tell them that, love wins. Love always wins. This is a favorite quotation from my favorite book, Tuesdays with Maury. And I believe कि अगर आप प्यार और से सब कुछ करना चाहते हो तो प्यार हमेशा जीतता है. Right? So love wins. Love always wins.
Okay. So how do you handle situations when you can see that things might not be going in the right direction for people through the numbers or whatever?
See, I just tell them what they are good at, what they can do, what their natural talent is based on the numbers. Once you know that, you know what you're good at, आप खुद से figure out कर सकते हैं कि मुझे क्या करना है. So knowing yourself is very important, and no matter how many roadblocks are there in front of you, you will be able to overcome them.
Right. So you already said the favorite book, and why is it your favorite book?
So this basically tells you about life is about generosity. It's about giving. It's not about accumulating. It's not about ये भी चाहिए वो भी चाहिए. It's just about how many lives are you able to touch, and it also tells you about death.
Wow.
So if you learn to die, eventually you will learn to live as well.
Yeah, this is exactly what Sadhguru said yesterday, that you don't know how long you were dead, but at least you know that you're living for, you know,
Absolutely.
forever time. So make use of living and not think of when you don't even know if you existed or not.
The only thing instant is death in this world, you know. और कुछ भी instant नहीं है, बाकी सब कुछ process है. But the only thing instant is death. So if you are ready to die, you are ready to live.
Very nice. So what is the one thing that you want to leave us with today?
So leave you with. So I would say
leave
that
everybody who's hearing us,
yeah, absolutely.
and the power of numbers, maybe something on that.
So I would yes, power of numbers for sure, but more important than that, I would want people to actually consider taking their second step, or you know, start with their second act. If I was
Very
able to
nice.
do it at a young age, if you are in your young age, or even if you are in your, as I said, 7, 16, 25 midlife crisis phase, just take the first step. It's never too late, and life is short. Start living, and just don't pass your time.
Very nice. So thanks, Rishabh. Such a nice
Thank you so much.
number
Thank you for having
crunching,
me.
whatever, a podcast today. So thank you. It just opened my mind to a lot of numbers today, and the possibilities there are. So thank you. This is incredible.
Thank you so much.